Hey, yo, what's up, guys? A new Wargreymon has appeared in the Digimon TCG for BT9. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Here we are at the tabletop setup. We have the Wargrey deck built. There is a few proxies, only 3 to be exact, because I couldn't pull enough in my boxes, but we were blessed with the rest of the cards. So let's go ahead and get into the Digi-Eggs. We're playing for Coolboy. Coolboy is necessary. It's a +1 Digi-Egg. It's good for being over Alphamon or Ryukins and anything that's bigger than 12k, essentially. It's necessary. It's more necessary than the draw coral. You're not playing Gaiomon, you don't need the draw power, you need the +1. Even in Gaiomon, it's arguable that you need the +1, because hitting 17k is a blessing. And on top of that, we play the one of Mero, because when you're attacking a player, you get +1k DP. You could swap it out for the Koro from ST1 to make it more consistent, so you have all Koros, and if you're an Agumon fanboy, but I feel like the stack building is good enough as it is. So let's go ahead and get into the rest of the cards. We have rookies. We got 4 Agumon X's. This is pretty much like the Agumon from BT5. BT5 Agumon essentially lets you search for Omni and or Wargreymon. Essentially, you can grab both if they are revealed, but this only lets you grab one of them and an X Antibody option. This can digivolve over an Agumon for 0, and it doesn't count towards Agumon for a particular Greymon, which is why we're running less of it. But we have these 4 Agumons for search. Then we have 4 of the BT5 Agumons for more search. You need to be able to play a ton of searches in this deck to search all your pieces and be able to essentially OTK the opponent when the opportunity arises. So this right here is an enabler of your OTK, essentially, because you're going to be digging for your pieces. Pretty much a turn 2 play. If your opponent passes your 3, is you play this, you search, you digivolve into this, you search again, and you draw a card. This can essentially set up potentially all your racing stack if you just hit the jackpot, essentially. And this is why we're playing this 4-4 split. And the last 4 of we're playing is the 2k booster, because being +2k is super important in this current format. Being able to once again beat over Oryukin and anything that's bigger than 12k is necessary. You need to be able to beat them down, cause piercing, take that security check, do all the shenanigans, because let's face it, if you can't do that, you're just not ready. And also, if you can swing over bodies, you can blow up other bodies with similar DP size. So being able to blow up cards is essentially like necessary for this deck to keep its control. We're playing 4 of the Wargreymon X Antibody because we want access to protection all the time. It's good against armors. It's good against so many things. And by armors, I mean those playing Megadeth. If they try to bounce it, you can activate the inheritable effect of this to remove 2 sources of the same level and prevent that bounce. It also prevents destruction, which is super huge. Having protection against hard play cards and cards that will cause your opponent to play very heavily is very, very good. This shuts down a lot of certain decks in the format, making it a lot easier for you to deal with. Next, we're playing 3 of the Greymon that reduces its cost by 1. If you have Agumon in your sources, it reduces by 1. However, if you you gain a memory. But however, if you have Agumon X and it's the only Agumon underneath this as a source, it will not gain the memory. Just remember that. It needs to be specifically Agumon. It says it in the text in parentheses, so just make sure, keep that in mind. But we're playing 3 of it because 2k boosting is super important. It's necessary for this deck, like I said, and sometimes having a big stack that's like 17k is needed for taking down cards in the meta. And then we're playing 3 security plus Greymons. I saw this way too much, and at 3 it feels like the perfect number. I find it enough so I can OTK my opponent, and the Wargreymon X's is what is necessary. So we're playing 3-3 split with 4 of these guys. Next, we're playing 4 Mel Gray. This is the ideal level 5 you want to go into, because if there's X Antibody in the sources or Mel Gray in the sources, he gets +3k, and inherently when he digivolves, he gets the security attack +1, allowing you to become 11k with a level 5 and being able to swing for at least 2 checks. And that's if you don't have the security Greymon or even a Taikami out on the field. So This helps facilitate the OTK faster, and it's a free Evo over any Mel Greymon. Speaking of which, we play 3 Alterius mode, which also has the similar effect of Mel Greymon or Greymon X Antibody, where you can remove 2 sources of the same type or same level to prevent bouncing and destruction. So this deck inherently has a ton of consistency when it comes to protection against bounce removal or hand removal, bottom decking, and or actual destruction. Now, it's not immune to DP, and it's not immune to certain other types of destruction, but it definitely can get away with swinging into security, blue digis, anything like that. Melgaru can't get rid of it on board if you have the proper sources. So much you can do with the deck. On top of that, we're playing 1 Mel Gray. This comes in niche circumstances where you can pierce over the enemy and check for like a whole bunch, also gaining a ton of memory, or essentially checking, swinging over, piercing a dude, and not checking anything with your ADP on Legs Wargray. This is an excellent excellent niche choice for this deck, because having piercing sometimes lets you swing over blockers, and it's just really good. Next, we have the star of the show, 3 Wargrey X. Now, Wargrey X isn't really the strongest, but he provides the most utility. Providing the most utility and the strength of the card is its niche, like it gaining memory, blowing up cards, is just such a strong thing that red was missing, and having access to that is an important thing in general. And next we have 2 Wargreys, the ones that shut down the security. Super powerful. Really good. And essentially this is not a card to mess with because it can get to 17k this format. That's huge. Going to 70k and checking for 4 or 3 is super big, and then digivolving into like an Omnimon to shut down your opponent from attacking you is really good. So yeah, really strong. Next we have the blitzing Wargray. Wargray X is or Wargreymon's really good. You can do some shenanigans where you digivolve, gaining blitz, and then you can swing, triggering its effect to blow up a blocker on the field if blockers are in your way, and then you can go ahead and activate X Antibody's effect to trigger, and then digivolve over this guy for 1. Then you can just potentially pass a turn and then reoccur it back to your turn, and digivolve over to Omnimon Blitz and swing for game. There are so many things you can do with this combo. It's really good as a one of, and I think like sometimes this niche card does come up, so it's a really solid Wargrey to play. And next we're playing the double Omni. Now there is a consideration for Omni X, and I am considering cutting this for Omni X. You can honestly just not play this and play an Omnimon X instead. But I like having the consistency of finding Blitz Omni. Now I do notice that sometimes you just don't actually need Blitz Omni for game, you just want the option there. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if someone cuts one out for playing Omnimon Blitz and Omnimon X essentially. But this card's great, it's necessary for the deck to function properly, and it's such a solid card. Next we're playing 3 Taikami. Taikami is necessary. It's how you kill your opponent a lot faster. You can stack up 4 really quickly, even with your level 5s, and on top of that, you're dealing an extra check. So if you have a check with him, that's 1, plus the 1 inherently on the Digimon, plus Wargrey X's, or the regular Greymon. That's another 1, plus Mel Greymon. And then if you have Wargreymon, that's 5 checks in 1 turn, being able to kill the opponent. And if you see multiple of these, this is just guaranteeing you to check like enough to kill the opponent. Sometimes it's necessary for matchups like Mastemon, but yeah, this card's excellent. Our next tamer is 3 Coolboy. This is the proxy I was talking about. I only pulled 4 from my boxes, very unlucky, but 3 Coolboy is super good because Coolboy is nuts. Like, searching your X pieces, resting to gain a memory, and drawing a card in a deck that will naturally draw cards a lot anyway because of how it ladders up is super strong. And like search power, and it only costs 2. It's really powerful. Really good card, and I think 2 to 3 is the way to go. You wouldn't want to play 4. This is not like the X Antibody deck, aka the Alphamon deck, but playing 3 I think is a really good shout. Next we're playing 3 Mem Boost, because this is a OTK deck, and all OTK decks in this format are playing Searchers. Searchers are necessary. Now people do have this thing about having to deal with blockers. If you can have an Alteris mode Digivolve over a stack, and you have a Tamer on the field, you can pop the memory blocker very easily, so that you can guarantee yourself going into Wargreymon and swinging. So really good, really solid card. This is how you answer your memory blockers. You need to play this. Alteris mode is a must. So just letting you know, on a side note, Alteris mode is really strong for that option of being able to deal with memory blockers in general. And then next, pretty much the last card in the deck, triple X Antibody. This is necessary to just win the game, set up like stacks that just run through the opponent, doing shenanigans essentially. You can even build a small stack with like Agumon, Greymon X, and then swing with the Greymon X as security, and then play the Mel Gray over it to go to 11k, because +1 security, 2 checks, or even 3 checks for a small stack. And it's just checking 3 with that it can be kind of insane. Like it allows you, if a deck can't really answer your board that well, or just answer your creatures as well, because there are some decks that can't, swinging into security for 11k is super big. And checking 3 is also really good. Less chances of it dying. So yeah, that strat has come up multiple times in testing, and it's really good. So that is it for pretty much the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I'm trying to hit 1k, essentially get to Sushi status, so then we can collab more often and you guys can see some really cool shit. We have some stuff planned for the near future, and I hope you guys stick around for it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.